Hey guys, so this is the new studio I've been trying to put together. So we're gonna do it. It'll obviously grow and adapt as I do these videos. So as it does, it'll grow with you guys too. So, but this is how it's gonna start off. So hopefully you guys like it. It's something, a place where I can be private, a place I can keep things set up, a place where I can not have to work so hard to get everything set up and tore down. I can just concentrate on videos and content instead of everything else. So let's check it out. Should be good. What's up everybody, blessed be. My name is Mannun and you're watching Witch in the Working, where we will be discussing all things witchy in and around, throughout and about, above, below, and beyond. Please visit me on my other platforms as well, including Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon, all linked down in the description below. The full script to this video and most of the others is available on my Patreon account for download if desired. Also, please visit me on my Shopify store, also listed in the description below, to get your Witch in the Working shirts, mugs, bags, beanies, or what have you. So in life, one of the things that keeps us going in our daily day-to-day battles of the grind is our passions. Some of these arise as hobbies and interests, and some of them as practices, which might include art forms, ideologies, or religion. And just like everything else in life, there are times when we just get burnt out on some of the things we love, especially when they require a lot of our energy and attention to groom and prosper. This isn't to say that we lose interest or love in these things. It's just that our mind's way of saying, hey, take a step back and take a break for a bit. This can especially happen with witchcraft and other occult practices. In this episode, we'll be talking all about this scenario that happens every day to people all around the world and how to fix it. So go grab your whiskey, wine, or what have you and roll the intro. Welcome back everybody. So as I was saying in the intro, there are many examples and many scenarios that people, being the extremely complicated beings that we are, can actually start to get tired and begin to pull away from the very things we love the most in life. It's okay, and you shouldn't kick yourself over this occurrence, as it happens to all of us at one point in our lives or another. This is especially true in a common scenario with artists of all types, whether a painter, a musician, a writer, a sculptor, etc., etc. Basically anything that requires you to create with your own mind in a way that is original and unique. This blockage and interruption is also called, in layman's terms, burnout. I myself am also a musician, and this is very common in the music industry practices. Writing a song can be a real endeavor, and to be honest, in order to create artistically, it almost always involves creativity coming from your heart, soul, and experiences. And if for some reason your mind is overworked or preoccupied, it can be very difficult to achieve this stage of mind that needs to be induced in order to let the creative juices, so to speak, begin to flow through whatever medium you choose to work with in your particular art form, whether it be music, whatever. This also happens in activities that you may be involved with in life, day to day, day in and day out. We as witches are always, for the most part, practicing our craft in one way or another. For many of you, you may be thinking, I could never burn out when it comes to witchcraft, and that's great for you, but unfortunately, it happens to many, more than you would think. I'm sure many of us know of at least one witch who has mentioned how they were a witch and then started practicing something else for a while, and then maybe returned back to witchcraft, Wicca, or whatever form of occult practice or paganism they are encompassed in. Again, it happens all the time and at different levels. I myself taught a coven for 15 years straight. Every single weekend for 7 years straight, I circled with 2 different groups, an inner court and an outer court group, every Saturday night, alternating weeks. After 7 years of doing this, I finally, I burnt out. And I couldn't just walk away, because I would never ever just walk away from students that were relying on me to finish their training. It was a rough year or two longer that I had to force myself to remain on track, at least until these students that were relying on me were thirded and pushed out of the nest, so to speak, and went to start their own covens. It happens and it's normal. The trick is to balance. There's that magical word again that I always harp about in previous lessons and videos. Balance out what you do. The key to everything in being successful and happy is balance. Don't overwork yourself or overindulge in activities to the point where they consume your whole life. Be careful, or you will in fact burn out as well. Depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it, there are answers and cures to burnout syndrome. For some, it's a matter of taking a few steps back, and for some, it may be to the extreme of taking a step back for quite a while, sometimes years, and then returning later to pick back up where you left off. There's no shame in any of this. What's most important is your well-being and your happiness. And if something you're passionate about no longer is making you happy, rather than lose it altogether, just take a step back for a while. A small vacation from your passions, a time to reflect and relax. What's awesome is once you're ready to go back and pick up from where you left off, it's with a renewed energy and vigor like you've never had before that helps you carry you to the next level with your particular activity, art form, or practice, your particular passion, so to speak. If this passion is witchcraft, it's okay to take a step back. You don't have to abandon it altogether. You will always be and embrace your witchy self. However, you may, for instance, want to take a sideline stance to group circles and other responsibilities you may feel committed to amongst other witchy individuals. For instance, a coven. In fact, in Gardnerian practice, we actually have a name for this, and we call it going on sabbatical. This is where a witch that works with a coven, for instance, will take a break for a year and a day to get life in order and get refocused before returning back to the said coven and continuing on with their, training. This is almost always a mutual agreement between the troubled student and the coven leaders. It's always benign. You don't need to stop your witchy life. Just simply don't do the things anymore that make you feel like what you're doing is a chore instead of a joy. Give the chore-like activities a break for a while. Eventually, you'll come back to them, again, with a new outlook and vigor, and most likely up your game with these once tiresome circumstances now being seen as exciting and renewed. So all of this is being said, I myself am not burned out on witchcraft at all. So don't get worried, don't freak out like that I'm going to stop doing videos and stuff like that, because that's not the case at all. I just thought it was a great subject to share with you in this particular lesson and video because it sort of ties in with what I do want to share with you, and it is a reality for a lot of people. As you all know, I recently moved from Florida to New Hampshire, and I love it up here. There's amazing forests and rivers and wildlife and the four seasons and just so much that I've never got to experience growing up 1,500 miles south of here in the land of one season, flat terrain, and swamps. Which there's nothing wrong with those in that scenario, as some of you would and do love that, but not this witch. I was ready for change, and when I do things, I go big or go home. So I sold my lifelong house of 48 years, 49 by the time you guys watch this video, as my birthday was on December 5th, and I packed up my life and moved to an extreme polar opposite of Florida, as far north as I could go in the US, or close to it anyways. So one of the things I recently realized is that my energy changed when I moved, as well as the energy of everything else all around me. All of my life, I designed my personal witchcraft energies to work with and revolve around my environment in South Florida. I worked with energies that revolved around heat, water, and solar magics. I worked with swamp and prairie type environments and utilized these special realms within my everyday practice. I would see certain animals to help me with messages and got used to their occurrences and knew what to expect as a sign or an omen when I, saw them. It's all different now on many levels. Nothing has changed, as some of these things are ingrained in you and a part of you, and you carry with you, for instance, my channeling ability and my ritual practice, and for instance, my technique for raising energy and grounding. But so many other things have changed, and in fact, are changing still. My sense of direction is off. This sounds silly, but a big part of witchcraft practice is knowing and feeling where you're at, knowing just ingrained what direction you're facing and whatnot, and your internal compass being aligned and tight with your witchy mind formula. My sense of being in nature and sensing those energies is completely off. The trees, the land, the air, the water, it all moves differently here, not for better or for worse, just different. I'm not 100% connected as of yet, like I was in Florida. I feel like back there I was a part of it. Nature was me and I was nature. Here I feel like I'm just out of sync with the spirits and otherworldly beings that possess these lands, forests, mountains, rivers, and dwellings. Not out of touch, just out of sync. We have to get used to each other, so to speak. I was thinking about this, and I plan to do just that. Introduce myself, and in turn let these forces introduce themselves to me. And bring you all along with me on this journey. I've never had to do this before, as I've never changed my existence so much as I have until recently. So I'm gonna wing it and connect in how I feel my heart and soul guide me. This being said, I think this is something to share that can be done regardless of whether a person has journeyed a life change or like I just did or not. In fact, I'll probably do this every once in a while now that I, have really contemplated it and thought about it, maybe once a year even, just to reconnect, so to speak. There's no reason why you can't do the same in your present situation. Just connect with the energies around you. Go to your local parks or forests and just reestablish a spiritual relationship with those forces that establish an energy bond with all that is. We have a step up over others in doing this because we're already connected and aware of these energies as they are aware of us too, and know we are a legit candidate on their level and are aware we are, a kindred spirit, so to speak. So let's get out of here and head out, and I can share my particular method of reconnecting with the witchy forces around me. So, what's up everybody? So like I was telling you before, I'm just gonna come out here and take you with me on my little journey out here in the woods and the forest out here to kind of reconnect, like I was explaining. So I'm gonna kind of walk through the woods and feel things out, and try to attune with some of the energies out here. So I'm just going to take you along. Probably won't do much talking moving forward. Just kind of do my thing, see what we can do. I brought some peanuts and some fruit mix that I'll be giving as offerings along the way, to different, that I feel, spirit spots, one thing that's kind of cool about these paths in these forests. So at some point, like, there's like, if you see these rock ledges that somebody had put together, I don't know how long ago, but somebody had actually put those, you know, and kind of laid them alongside of a like a road, It's kind of neat. Totally neat. The pond here is completely frozen over. Hey, that's so cool. You don't see stuff like that in Florida. There's still some greenery here, so I got this really cool phone app that I discovered when I first moved here. It's called Picture This. It's got, you know, it's like for taking pictures of herbs and stuff. So there's a couple of things around here I wanted to take a picture of to try to see what it is, you know, just to identify it. So there's this greenery here that's coming through the forest floor. So I'm going to take this here. Let's see. It says it's a partridge berry, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, this stuff right here is called partridge berry, apparently. And we have these leaves here coming through too. Let's see what that is. That is wintergreen. Wow. So that's the stuff that, like, I don't know, is that the stuff you can actually eat?
I'll try it and we'll find out.
Huh, interesting. I think it is.
Let us know.
Wow, so very cool. So there's some wild wintergreen. But, alright, so go through. These rocks are beautiful too, with these moss colored. I'm gonna check that out, see what that moss is. So this moss is delicate fern moss. Pretty cool. Yeah, this app is really cool. It's called Picture This. I'll put it in the description below for people who want to check it out. I've used it up here quite a bit for not just picture or for plants and herbs and trees, but also for birds and insects. It does also. So we'll move on. that's going to wrap up this episode of Witch in the Working. Have you ever suffered from burnout? What did you do? Do you reconnect from time to time? How do you do it? Let us all know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and please ring that little bell to be reminded of future episodes to come. I love you guys and gals. Until next episode, blessed be.